Hey guys, and welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. It's been a while. I've been out on holiday with my family. I've started a new job. I've been to weddings, been doing all sorts. It's been a long time since I sat behind a microphone. The last time I recorded was with Dave Courtine for the W100 tennis tournament. I hope you enjoyed that episode. But when I haven't recorded for a while, I get like a bit of an itch. I need to do this. It's a good thing that I do. It's a good, it's kind of therapeutic, really, I guess. So here I am, I'm back. And we've got a great episode for you today featuring Hazel Meredith-Lloyd. I came back from holiday thinking, I don't have a podcast for next week. So there's a bit of a mad scramble to try and get this one in. So thank you to Tracy Morgan for organising this. It was fantastic to speak to Hazel, and it wouldn't have happened without you, Tracy. So thank you so much. And I do appreciate the people that I did put a message out saying, guys, I need a guest for like tomorrow, I think it was, and lots of people got in touch. So if you did get in touch, thank you so much. I will be responding to you guys and getting you guys later dates on the show because you were so good to reach out in the first place. We've got a good month lined up, I gotta say. Actually, I have been trying to catch up, and we do have September pretty much nailed for guests. So we've got a great lineup coming up. Right, before we get into this, I do have something I need to read out, something that's very important to certain someone in Shrewsbury. We have an official statement to read out. Here we go. This is from Josie, and it reads like this. My name is Josie. I'm 7 years old, and I'm cross about the dog poop that I keep seeing on the pavements in my neighbourhood. I've put up signs in my streets, and I've written to the council. I've also started a petition to get support for my ideas about how the council can make changes. I want them to 1. Clean my pavements more often. 2. Put up clear and bright signs to remind grown-ups to pick up after their dogs. I have offered to draw these if they want. 3. Put up some signs and some free dog poo bags for people to use if they forget theirs. If you feel cross like me, or if you just like people to scoop their dog's poop like they should, then please sign my petition. Thank you for that, Josie. What I'm going to do is the link that you've sent for your petition, I'm going to put on the readout for this podcast. So if you agree with Josie about the dog poop, this is generally this is the Bellevue area, Bellevue and Colham. But if you feel like that you want to support Josie in this, maybe we can get the ball rolling. Click the link for the petition and get it signed. Thank you, Nikki, who's Josie's mum, for getting in touch with us, for sending that across. And I wish you the best of luck, Josie. I love seeing that. Young people getting involved with the community and trying to make positive changes. So good luck to you, Josie. Right, let's get on with this episode then. We make sure you stick around as well at the end of this one because we've got some very important Pod Aid talk. If you want to be a part of Pod Aid 2023, please stick around. I'll give you all the details. And now I'm starting to file guests into time slots. We've got a great venue thanks to Shop Doc. They're going to get lots of love from me over the next few weeks. But I definitely want to hear from you if you want to be a part of it. So stick around to the end of the episode for more information. Now is our great episode with the amazing Hazel Meredith-Lloyd. Enjoy. Hi guys, and welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. I'm Alex Whiteley. It's been a while. Hey, we had a week off. I had a new job to start, and then we went on holiday, went to Turkey, and then I realized I didn't have a podcast lined up for. There's like a week when we got back. I was like, and then I realized, you know what? It's okay. That's fine. We can have a week off. I can enjoy some time with my family, getting used to my new job, and still do what I love. In a week's time. So, and this is what we're doing today. Today we are joined by Hazel Meredith-Lloyd, author of the book Orange and the children's version of the book Natalie Hedgerow and the Orange Alien. I hope I got that right, Hazel.
You did, yeah.
get good at this thing. How are you, Hazel? You good?
Yes, thank you. Yeah. And belated happy birthday to you, if if you don't mind me saying. Have I aged you?
No, people get weird. Some people get weird about their birthdays, and I mean, I feel like at this stage I'm 37. I feel like but birthdays are more for the children, or for when you get to like 50, or those kind of big birthdays.
I had my big 50th birthday, and I thought to myself, I'll have a party. I don't normally have parties. Bit anxious about it, but what could possibly go wrong? If I indicate to you that my birthday, I was planning it at the beginning of 2020, I think we all know what possibly went wrong. And I'm now 53, and I haven't had the 50. I did have a very nice Zoom party, but I haven't had an in the room 50th birthday party.
For your next birthday, they should cross out the number that's next to the 50 and just put a 0.
Yeah.
Belated 50th birthday.
Just go for it. I feel like the time has passed slightly. I'm just worried it was my fault. So I'm not going to plan a big party again, just in case.
Just in case there's another pandemic. Yeah. I had a nice birthday, and to the friends and family on Facebook that gave me love and support, and my wife was amazing as well. She bought me tickets to Michael McIntyre, who played in Shrewsbury. He does like a warm-up gigs where he gets his set right before he goes into the big shows. And I want to say, thank you. That was amazing. And I nearly died from laughing so much. Maybe that's why I'm ill today. I got like a bit of a frog in my throat today. Maybe it's because I nearly died laughing at Michael McIntyre. I don't know. Yeah, it was really good. So thank you to everybody. So we're speaking about literature, writing today, which is, I love, like, it doesn't matter if somebody's a photographer, if they're a rapper, if they're a painty artist, or someone that writes. I feel like artistry and creativity is absolutely, it's just a wonder to talk about, because where does that come from? Where does that creativity come from? Is this something that you, Hazel, have had all your life, or was this something that's come to you later on in life?
I think I've always wanted to be a writer. And my mum and dad were always brilliant with, reading us stories, and my dad would make up stories for us at bedtime when we were little. And my mum would always watch films with us and then discuss why the characters were doing what they were doing, or the history behind it, if it was like, a semi true film. So it started right from the beginning. And you've spoken to my sister on your podcast as well, with Joe Schumann. We're both at the Writers Lab members. My sister,
great episode.
I really enjoyed that one. That was really good. And it's just always been there. I think I've put in my, when you have to write a little biography and things, I normally put Hazel Meredith-Lloyd wanted to be a writer far back as she can remember, but it took me accidentally enrolling on an English degree in my late 40s to realise I should just get on and do it. So
that's amazing. You accidentally enrolled for the wrong course then?
Well, it was me and my sister. My sister's a huge fan of Jane Austen, and there was a Pride and Prejudice summer school at UCS, at the University Centre here, and there was a summer school on Pride and Prejudice, which was her favourite book. And she said to me, do you want to go? It was free. And I went, I don't know. I wasn't long out of hospital because I've got cystic fibrosis and I'd developed diabetes and I've been quite ill. I was like, I don't know, I'm a bit tired. And then I woke up the next day and thought, I don't feel too bad, and it is her favourite book. Let's go. And it was just amazing. And the tutor, Deborah Wynne, came, and you might also know, you probably know Lucy Andrew, came over to talk to us at the end of the session. Deborah did, and said, I take it you've already done English degrees, because you seemed really into it all. And I went, no, we haven't got degrees. We haven't studied English at that level. And she went, well, would you like to? And went, well, I'd have to do it part-time because of health. And she went, you can do it part-time. And I said, I couldn't afford the fees. Well, you can get a loan part-time. And every sort of block I had, she had a really good answer for. And it just sort of happened from there. So we'd just gone to while away a couple of hours chatting about Pride and Prejudice, which incidentally, at the end of the session, I realised I'd joined in. I'd never actually read it. I'd seen various film and television versions, but I suddenly went, I've never read this book. But I promise I did read the books when I actually got on the course. But yeah, it almost just spiralled in a good way and happened from there. And I'm so glad that we did, because we just met so many brilliant people and tutors and read so many books and watched films and things that I wouldn't have otherwise watched, or even if they were things I'd watched, we then looked at them in a completely different way. It was brilliant writing. We could do a creative writing piece for our dissertation, and I wrote an essay on Spider-Man and Bridget Jones. It was just, and then obviously more traditional ones like Shakespeare and Jane Austen as well. It was just brilliant. And I haven't stopped, as they say, I haven't stopped dancing yet. I haven't stopped writing since.
Wow. That's fun. I think that's phenomenal because I'm very sorry. You could probably see me.
Right.
I'm meeting my mic. I was like, I got a cold, folks. I got a cold.
And I'm in a different room. People who know me and know that I shielded, don't worry. I'm in a different room.
I'm so glad you're not in me, because I would have hated to have had you in the same room as me, the state I'm in. Been in work all day, just like, give me a second.
I'll just go and stand in the cupboard.
when you got to use your voice for this sort of thing, and you can barely talk. But yeah, it's great when things like this find you by chance, because I feel like it kind of relieves the pressure a little bit, because you kind of fell into it. I feel like
yeah, sorry. The first novel I wrote, I don't know if you've frozen. No, you're back. The first novel I wrote, I just did it for fun. It was an exercise in a creative writing group we had at uni, and let's just write a short bit. And I quite liked it. And the next month they set a different exercise, and I thought, I could carry on with the same story and the same characters. And over the months it just built. And then I thought, I'm just going to carry this on as a novel because I'm enjoying it. And then I think the pandemic came, and it was just nice to escape into. So that first one came entirely by accident. And then I'm trying to get it published, or I might self-publish it if no agents bite. And then I've written various other things since, but they often start by accident or just as an exercise and then grow.
Well, how do you handle ideas? Do you have to put them in the back of your mind? You have to get up and scribble them down? Do you have to be careful not to act upon ideas? Because that is the dangerous thing.
I do sometimes set myself, I think at one point I was attempting to write 4 different novels at the same time. I do overstretch myself, because like you say, the ideas come and then you're like, I want to do that, or that's really relevant at the moment, or I'll be thinking, no, I'll focus on this, and then there'll be a writing competition. Penguin Michael Joseph, who were part of Penguin, had a writing competition this year for undiscovered writers, but it had to be crime fiction. So at that stage, the 3 novels I was working on, none of them were crime novels, so I started a 4th, and I got longlisted in that, but not shortlisted, but I did get longlisted, and some really nice feedback from them, so I've managed to sort of sneak that onto the side at the moment, focus on some of the other things, and then come back to it, because there's an agent who wants to see it. So hopefully they'll like it when I've done it. It's difficult. I need 4 me's to all be writing at the same time. So somebody said to me the other day, the alien in my little story's got 5 arms. That would be handy if I could type 4 or 5 different novels at the same time.
I honestly don't know how some authors do it, because, how often is a Jack Reacher novel out? Every year or every 10 months? Yeah. These things are just, and they're seamless as well, most of them. And so how do you pump out that? It's not just about how do you write a story in because if it's your main job and you make millions off it, or you make enough money to survive off it, then you make it your purpose to write that. But it's not about that. It's about the ideas and the execution of that, isn't it? I do and a big shout out to Violet Fenn as well, who's been on our show. Great friend of our show.
Oh, yeah. I know her. I knew her first back in the 90s, and then we reconnected in the last few years via Facebook. And I went, hello, I think I know you. And then we had to remind each other who we were. And she's fantastic and so prolific. And isn't she doing well with is it Nether? How do you say it? Is it Netherweird? Her
Never
series.
Oh god! I literally just had it up on here. But
all
Red
set
and
in Liverpool, they're amazing. Yeah.
Red and Dead is the #1 bestseller on Amazon. Number 1 bestseller.
She is fantastic, and the amount that she does as well. It's a series now. I think I need to learn some of her focus, because I need to get into one thing and do it through to fruition. But things pop up, like I say, competitions with deadlines. You go, well, I better do that now. But she's really focused on this series, and it's doing brilliantly, isn't it? I'm trying to remember the name of the 3 books. I'm terrible like that.
I'm going to Google it.
I know it's set in Liverpool. The person wakes up one day without a pulse, doesn't she? And then she's sort of, it just amazing characters and places. And she's really good with her research as well, isn't she? Like researching all the parts of Liverpool she's set it in.
It's the Never Weird Chronicles. And it's book 1, Red and Dead, which is now number 1 bestseller on Amazon as well. Amazon's that's not like a bookstore. That's not even Waterstones. That is Amazon.
Yeah,
that's huge.
There are so many books on there. To be number 1 is just amazing. When I first bought Orange Out as a short story, very briefly, I think I got to number 33 because everybody's sort of buying it on the first day. In some of the categories I did, but to be at number 1, and she's sustaining her riding high in the charts as well, and full-length novels as well. So and she's very generous with like Tracy Morgan, that you know as well, is who told me that you had a slot today. They're both, and Joe, they're so generous with their knowledge, and that's one thing I find about writing people, that they just really kind and generous and sharing and tips and boosting each other up, and
that's one of the things I've loved about speaking to authors in Shrewsbury, is because there is a collaboration. There isn't a yes, keep trying, darling, or any of that nonsense. It's kind of like, no, let's get together and share our work, and then we can help each other through it. And I really like that. And I keep getting invites to the Writers Labs, and I really want to come, and I probably can in the next couple of weeks or so, maybe pop along to one of them. But with my new job, I'm just trying to like survive. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If you can't get in person, there's often a Zoom link. So that might be
too. That's quite cool.
Yeah, that's very handy, because I used that a lot when I was still shielding. And then sometimes if I can't get in there and back, you can just turn the laptop on for the hour, and that's really handy.
I think Laura asked me to come and speak there, and I was like, but I'm not an author. She goes, but you make things. And I was like, okay.
Oh yeah, make things, and we all love, a way to get publicity for people who are putting things out there is quite amazing. I went on a course with uni about making podcasts, but I've not managed to wrap my head around actually doing it as yet. So I just keep trying to be on people's.
Yeah, I've been asked to do that as well, which is weird. Go and do a workshop about podcasts. My problem is like I have a bit of imposter syndrome, where in my head I'm like, who the hell wants to listen to me talk? Do you know what I mean? But I don't know.
You shouldn't have that, because I remember seeing you years ago. I was at UCS at the university, and you were doing a podcast live, I think, there, or recording. It was probably at Charlie Adlard's the Comic-Con things, when they had all the comic.
Oh right, we interviewed Frank Whiteley. We did lots of interviews that weekend. Shane Cheb for inviting me along to that, because they gave us a studio for 2 days at that university, and we had a blast, an absolute blast. Was it the one it wasn't the one at the castle, one at the UCS? Yeah.
The one in the university, yeah. I think they had things in the library as well. I mean, it was brilliant, wasn't it? I went to see so many panels, and I knew Charlie as well back in the 90s, same sort of time and group of people as I knew Violet in. And I don't know if he really remembered me, because I didn't know him that well. But when I went to get something signed at that Comic-Con thing, he was like, oh yeah, Haley, and I'm thinking, did somebody just whisper my name? Haley Hazel, did someone just whisper my name to him? And he was really friendly, when I knew him back in the 90s, he was illustrating the X-Files magazine, which was huge, like I always call it the wrong thing. Walking Dead, Living Dead. I always call it Walking Dead, isn't it? Huge, like that is now. The X-Files was massive then. And he was illustrating it, and he was so modest. I knew him because he was drumming in a band with some of my friends, and he was just so modest about it. And still is now. Is the same person.
Down to earth. Where do you think that comes from, though? Do you think that's the the mind of a creator. I mean, you can build an ego about what you make, and I guess that happens quite a bit. But like you said, there are so many people that are really humble about what they make.
Yeah.
I know it's quite nice to see. It's quite nice to see. I mean, Charlie is a great example because that guy is worth millions. He's worth millions. He's co-created one of the greatest independent comic books in history, and he will talk to anybody. You're right, he will. And I see him now and again. Sometimes I get shocked that he recognizes me. It's really when I first started in the Shrewsbury Biscuit, about when you saw me around that sort of time, I developed a bit of a weird man crush on Charlie Adlard. I'm all right now. But when I'd see him, I'd turn into like a 16-year-old giggly girl. I'd be like,
yeah.
You okay? Yeah.
I think we all have, like you said, that brings me back. We've all got, I don't know what it is, where the modesty and imposter syndrome go hand in hand, because as you probably heard me slip up there is a bit of a pen name going on with me for various reasons, but it is helpful. When I go as Hazel, I'm in writing mode, and Hazel's far more confident than real me. And so that's helpful, but real me's got crushing imposter syndrome. So it does help to sometimes have a pen name and just go, oh yeah, well, she knows what she's doing. She's a writer. I'm just somebody who's having a go and doesn't really know what they're doing.
I do. I know that. And because I worked for a few years at the prison acting, they used to write roles just for me. Like they'd be like, right, what can we do? I did Bad Santa, I did Evil Butcher, I did Drag Queen. I was there for like, I'm innocent. I used to say, and like, it's really weird because I'd shuffle in, say hi to my prison family, the actors that I worked with, and we'd all get along, and then I would get into character and it'd be completely different. But Bad Santa was the best thing I ever did, because I'd just be like, people be staring at me walking around with my whiskey stains down my t-shirt. I'd be like, what? Like, I could be someone different. It's not me. That's Bad Santa, and that's it's quite liberating actually to do something like that.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, it is. And I used to do amateur dramatics. It's brilliant. Yeah.
So what's the difference between Hazel and you then? What are the benefits of being Hazel for you?
Oh, I think everybody says, like, I think to carry on that rambling biography that I've written in some things, I say something like, it took me accidentally doing the degree to realize I should just get on and write it. And then to my amazement, people actually read it. So everyone goes, no, you are a writer, you write. And I go, yeah, but is anyone reading it? That's whether you can call yourself a writer. Hazel calls herself a writer. Me goes, is anyone reading it? And what are they thinking when they do read it? But then you're right. If you get joy out of writing it, I think that serves a purpose in itself. Unfortunately, we need money to make the world go round. And I've been trying to, I said to myself, I'll give myself a year after university, and I graduated last September, to try and earn money from writing. And I think I've got 22 days left before that time is up. And well, I've self-published. I've earned, I think it's under 50 quid at the moment I've earned on self. So I suppose technically I've just squeaked in at the last minute and achieved my aim. But I think I'm probably going to have to take the pressure off and get a part-time job to pay some money, so that, because otherwise it can take the joy out of it a bit. If you're writing to try and desperately be published or get an agent, then every knockback is just crushing, and you find yourself trying to write to what other people want rather than what you enjoy and are good at writing. Which just spoils it all a bit. You've got to enjoy writing it. You've got to write what you'd want to read, I think. And so I'm going to try and split it. I think earn a bit of money and then try and write for joy and hope that takes me down the right path.
Do you think that's what happened to George R.R. Martin? Do you think he was kind of like, I'll finish it when I finish it, like, and I'll do it how I want to do it. Like, people are like, can you finish Game of Thrones, please? Because like the TV show end soon, and it's kind of like, no, I don't think I will.
Yeah, maybe didn't want it to end, because I'm a bit like that. If you read a really good book, or if you've written one, you miss the characters, don't you? And I find that hard as well. Like when you do submit to agents and they go, well, I like it, but I think this person needs to change and that needs to change. But in my head, when I've written it, that's how it is. They're real to me then, and that's how it happens. I'm like, but I can't change it because that's what happened and that's who they are, and they wouldn't say that. So it is a bit of a conflict. You've got to play the game like with everything if you want to go down the traditional route. But then with Kindle Direct Publishing with Amazon, you can just self-publish. I mean, you've got to be careful not to just stick a load of dross out there.
But it's good to hear that you don't compromise, like, you know, with your creation. I mean, I was listening to when I came in from Michael McIntyre, I threw on Gabriel Iglesias, the Fluffy, the comedian, and he did the voice for Speedy Gonzales for the new Space Jam movie. And Speedy Gonzales nearly got cancelled before the movie got released because people like it's a Mexican stereotype. And Fluffy is Mexican. He's like, well, I don't know if you've ever listened to my family over the dinner table, but they sound exactly like that. That represents Mexico and Mexican families. So they rang him up because he was doing the voices, Warner Brothers, and they were like, would you do it in your normal voice? And he was like, absolutely not. Because Mexico needs representation and families love Speedy Gonzales. No compromise. And he did an amazing job. You know, sometimes you got to stick to your heart, haven't you? Stick to what's important to you. You know,
I think, and because it's his lived experience, he can do it without it being an insulting parody. I think there's a lot in publishing at the moment about own voices and lived experience. And because I've got cystic fibrosis, my characters tend to have it because I think, well, the writing and reading world needs diversity. I'm going to get that bit right because I know it, I live it. But even then it worries me because my experience of cystic fibrosis and my opinions about it are not going to be the same as everybody's with cystic fibrosis. We're all individuals. So I know, you know, it's a very tricky one when a type of person is represented for the first time in film or literature. You will get a lot of people go, that's not right, that's not how it is, because that's not how their experience is. I think it helps if the actor or the writer or the director has that lived experience. But even then, as I say, going around in circles with myself, I can only give my experience of it. I can't give everybody's. And I think that's the problem. When somebody represents something for the first time, that becomes the blueprint and everybody wants it to represent every person with that thing. And even if I manage to write a really good novel and it's got a character with CF in, it won't be everybody with CF's representation. So it does worry me. It's a tricky thing. We need diversity. We need own voices. There's all these questions, isn't there? Is it Russell T Davies said recently he felt It's a Sin. He just wanted actors with the sexuality of the character they were playing to play that because they had the lived experience. And then there's all that debate. Well, is that right or is that wrong? And I don't know. It's a complicated question. But the more representation we have, authentic representation and acceptance, the better, I think. But it's how you make it authentic, I think.
I always remember the Drax thing from Guardians of the Galaxy. There's an autistic boy who couldn't attach to anything, couldn't concentrate on anything, there was no TV show that he liked, there's no cartoons that he could sit and watch. And he watched Guardians of the Galaxy, and I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but Drax is very literal.
Yes.
You say something to him, he's like, no, I am not that. And this boy attached himself to Drax, the only thing that he loved, because he identified with it. You know, he kind of that was his thing, and that's such a random character to attach onto. But when you talk about representation, I do feel like there needs to be somebody out there for everybody. And I feel like, and also you got a good niche as well. You know, you might reach out to a corner of a reading community that'd be like, thank you so much for writing that.
Yeah, I think it's nice to be seen. The first novel I wrote, which was a rom-com, has a sort of secondary character in it with cystic fibrosis, and an agent once said to me, well, why isn't she the main character? But the main character was one that was it was a bit Bridget Jonesy. She was a bit of an emotional mess. It starts with her being left by her boyfriend and she doesn't know why, and it's her journey to getting stronger. But I wanted the character with cystic fibrosis to be strong from the off and to be her support. So therefore she had to be the supporting character. It wasn't that she wasn't as important, but I wanted her to be strong. So she was the supporting character, and then we were seeing the journey of the other one. But then in the second novel I've written, she is the main character. But it's so tricky to know what to do, because you can never please all of the people all of the time. You can just try, I think.
And what about the genre you've chosen? Can you write any genre, or is it just like comedy is your strong point?
So far, nearly everything I write has got comedy in it. So far, I'm writing the cozy crime that's got comedy in it. The two versions of Orange, both comedic, and then the rom-com comedy, and the other one, even though it's a bit more serious, has also got a lot of comedy in it. I tend to deal with serious issues by using comedy in my life and in my writing. Orange started as a university exercise, and we just had to write anything, 1,000 words of prose, anything. And I was like, I have no idea where to begin. It was just too vast. It could be anything at all. And I was going up to bed one night and I thought, I still haven't done that assignment. I still don't know what story to write. And I was closing the curtains and I said to my husband, that big orange metal box is still out on the green. And it struck me that we'd all just assumed this big orange metal container that had suddenly appeared on the green with no signs or anything to tell you what it was. We just assumed, it's probably got council lawnmowers in it or something. But then I thought, well, what if it isn't? And then that's when I decided that the big orange metal box was an alien spaceship with a little orange alien called Jeff in it. And that's when this whole very Hitchhiker's Guide influenced story came. But a lot of the comedy in it is, I'm going to say adult comedy. I don't mean as in it won't be shown till 10 o'clock at night and only on satellite channels, but not aimed at children. There was a joke I made
that adults get, but kids maybe won't.
Some that kids wouldn't really get. The references are wrong for them. There's one where the main character in it, because the main character in it is about my age. She's a woman who's always lived quite a quiet life and then decides to help this poor stranded alien get his spaceship back off the ground and travel in space. So it's like this contrast of she's never really left her town much. I think she says, here I am going off to space and I've never been to Anglesey because I don't like the bridge. And she's like quite a timid little person and decides to take this big leap for mankind. And she I don't know what I said. I've lost my thread. That's how I write so much.
You're talking about the story of her helping the alien.
That's it. And she's helping him and she's thinking to herself, I can't remember why. She ends up thinking about the Ghostbusters reboot they did recently where it was women actresses instead of, and there was a lot of hatred for that, wasn't there? And she says
Not
this line.
It was a women cast though, it was because it was terrible.
there was, but some people it was because it was women, and there was like there's this line in the book that I wrote something like some people were very angry because they very much felt that the women Ghostbusters should be more about the bust than they were about the ghost. And I thought maybe I'd take that out of the children's version. And then a few agents had said, oh, well, we can't really place Douglas Adams style sci-fi comedy at the moment. It's not really in vogue. Have you thought of turning it into a children's book? Because a lot of it reads like a children's book with some exceptions. And my cousin's a children's teacher, and he said, I'd love to read it to my class. And I thought, I'm just going to rewrite it so that it is for kids. So I had to take some bits out. I added a grandchild so that there was a young person for them to identify with. But then that changed the character. The main character in the main one, Emily Hedgerow, she's a little bit of a lonely person. She hasn't married. She wouldn't have a child or a grandchild. So it's taken those slightly sadder bits. I've often got sort of sadder bits mixed in with the comedy, but those have gone from the children's version. There's bits the little girl is worrying about changing schools and going to a new school. So then traveling off to this other planet and meeting all these aliens helps her realize that actually, well, if I can do that, then a new classroom and a different teacher is no big deal after all. So it's sort of it's changed. There's changed bits of it, and then there's bits of the two books which I've tried to be really clear on Amazon are pretty much the same book. Some of them are the same word for word. I don't want people to buy the second one and go, well, thanks for that. I've just paid for another book that was 60% the same as the first one. But I just wanted to do it for both audiences. And like when you get adaptations on the television,
I was going to mention this is probably far away too far, but Deadpool. I really like the movie Deadpool, and I was like, I wish I could watch this with my kid, but it's too violent. But then they've released a child version of it, like a family version.
Is it animated or is it Ryan Reynolds?
No, it's Ryan Reynolds, but it's it's still like Deadpool, but there's no not the same sort of amount of blood or gore and stuff.
That would be great. I think I would watch that because I love Ryan Reynolds, Marvel and Deadpool, but I find it a bit, maybe I'm more suited to the kids version.
Once Upon a Deadpool, it's called.
Oh wow, I must watch that.
Is an edited, toned down version of Deadpool 2. I don't know if they've done it with the first one. So they basically just dumbed it down a little bit. And that's great because I love those characters, and that the second one in particular.
Because his humour as well, there's parts of Deadpool that kids would love, but there's so many parts in it that you really don't want your kids to see or hear. So
when a character breaks the fourth wall, looks at the camera and goes, "Hey kids," people love that. That for me is a great thing. I mean, one of my favorite things in the world is Rick and Morty. I love Rick and Morty to death.
Oh yeah,
because it's very clever short storytelling. Like they will tell. They did an episode called Morty's Mind Blows. I mentioned it on the podcast a few times where they did 6 or 7, possibly 8 stories in one episode, one 25-minute episode. And each one was a coherent story that made a lot of sense and was really funny too. It's storytelling of the highest caliber. Yeah. It may be a bit lewd and it may be a bit rude sometimes, but for me, it's some of the finest writing you're ever going to see. That
sounds brilliant. When I entered the Chester Uni, where I went to University Centre Shrewsbury, but obviously that's part of Chester Uni. I entered a writing competition, and when we went to the sort of presentation evening, I didn't win, but it was a brilliant evening. And one of the writers speaking to us, giving a speech, had written on Bob the Builder, and she said that in every sort of 5-minute episode of Bob the Builder, they had to have all the beats and all the parts of a story and a subplot that you would have in like a 2-hour film. And I thought, actually, people scoff at, they all say, kids writing is easy. And it really isn't. To get all of that into 5 minutes is probably more of a skill than doing a 90-minute rom-com, probably, because you've got to get all those beats in so quickly. And I thought, wow, that's amazing.
You know what? I have been editing podcasts, videos, photos, logos, all sorts of things over the years. One of the most difficult things I ever had to edit was I had a job at a radio station, and I was doing Al's business. Was it Al's Entertainment Buzz? And it was an 8-minute slot, and it was all what's going on in the movie world, gaming, all that kind of entertainment jargon. And I had to edit it down to 8 minutes, very small slots, and I had to take out breaths and just to try and squeeze it in. And sometimes compact writing is very difficult. I mean, how did you choose? Because it's a short novel, isn't it? Yeah, how did you choose what content goes in and what doesn't go in?
It started off as a 1,000-word assignment, and that was about 1 chapter. And then I carried it on. The next year, we had a similar assignment, and we were able to continue with an existing piece. So, but at the end of university, it was 3,000 words. Then I put it on my blog and did sort of 1,000-word chapters. Then there was a Comedy Women in Print, which is run by Helen Lederer, had a short story competition that could be up to 10,000 words. So I thought, I'm going to keep going for 10 chapters, give it like the normal sort of story arc, and then finish it at 10,000. And then I thought, well, I quite like it at 10,000. I'm going to publish it as a short story, as a kind of my first foray into self-publishing, and see how it goes. And at the moment, it stayed at that. But I might make it longer one day, either as kids or in its original form. There's a company in Wrexham that you can make audiobooks with, that they then can put it in the format that you can put them on Audible, and you can get some funding from Chester Uni in the 2 years after you graduate. So if I can get the funding, they let you read your own audiobook, and I'd really love to have a go at making an audiobook of one of the versions, either Orange or the Natalie Hedgerow and the Orange Alien. Probably the kids
I'll
one
help
would
you.
probably
I'll give you my
work.
voice.
Say again. Oh, you
I'd give you my
frozen.
I'd give you my voice. I love doing voiceovers for stuff like that.
Do you? Oh, wow.
I have, in fact, this week I found out that I have voiced on the #1 wrestling podcast in Sweden.
Oh wow!
Wrestling with the Champ, with created by my great friend Ant McGinley, an amazing guy. And I've done ring announcers. I've done characters. I used to do voices for him. I've been doing it for years, to be fair. But yeah, I'd love to do stuff like that. Yeah,
that sounds. You see, I was thinking, do we also get if it's in Wrexham? Surely Ryan Reynolds will just I'd love to voice a 5-armed orange alien called Jeff. Surely he's just waiting for that next role after Deadpool, isn't it?
I'll put a word in for you. Me and him are great. I'm joking, really.
If you could just ask him, I'll wait by the football ground, and I'm going to Comic-Con at the weekend. There's a homecoming one in the Glendower University just next to the football ground. So maybe he'll be there and I'll just go, hi, I've got a role for you. What do you think?
Do you know what? Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if he said yes to something like that, because he's a nice guy. He seems to be a nice guy.
He's lovely, isn't he? Have you seen all the stuff he does for Wrexham? And then there's a video on YouTube about all the charities he's helped in Canada, because he's Canadian, isn't he? And yeah, he does seem genuinely nice and very quirky. I'm hoping that Jeff the Alien is quirky and appeals to people. But then it was one of those things that appealed to me, and it kind of made me laugh writing it, which I don't mean in a big-headed way. It might not make anybody else laugh at all. I just might have a very particular weird sense of humour, but it was fun for me.
Oh, by the way, I was behind the trailer the other day. It was one of those Ivor Williams one. And I was sat behind it going, Ivor Williams, because he did the advert. Did you see the advert he did for Ivor Williams trailers? When him and Rob first took over the club, they did an advert for them. And it was like, Ivor Williams trailers. It was like the way he said it was so funny. I'm a huge fan of independent creators, and Rob McElhenney and the team behind Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Again, when it comes to comedy writing, that's some of the finest writing you'll see. And so I love Ryan Reynolds. I think he's amazing, but Rob McElhenney for me is just an absolute genius when it comes to comedy. You know, him and Charlie Day in the same room. Honestly, you know, they're great.
I've got to watch that. That's on my to watch list. I haven't watched that yet, but I hear it's brilliant.
Phenomenal. I mean, season 7 of Always Sunny in Philadelphia is some of the best sitcom you'll ever see. They are terrible people. They play terrible people. A lot of people jump on Always Sunny in Philadelphia and go, yeah, they root for them, when really they're taking, they're kind of poking the right wing people with a stick a little bit, you know, sort of like portraying them as idiots, you know. And I love that. Who inspires you as writing? Do you ever watch like movies and TV and things? You mentioned Bridget Jones earlier as
Helen Field, and the Bridget Jones things for rom-coms. Terry Pratchett and Douglas Adams for the sci-fi type stuff. I remember you said earlier about breaking the fourth wall, and when I was a teenager back in the 80s, I used to love Moonlighting, which was a comedy detective drama series with Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd, and it was hilarious. And they broke the fourth wall all the time and they'd suddenly burst into song. There was a dream sequence episode. There was a episode where it starts with a child having to do their homework about the taming of the shrew, and then all the characters act out the taming of the shrew, but with it's metafictional, isn't it? I think they call it, and breaking the fourth wall, and it was so funny. I worry that if I go back and watch it now, and I've got all the DVDs because I was obsessed with it, it's probably incredibly sexist. I don't think Sybil Shepherd spoke that highly of Bruce Willis and her general treatment as a woman, not by him particularly, but you know, the industry in the 80s. I think very much she had to be the straight man he was the funny one, and it's probably a bit like when young people watch Friends now and go, Ross should never behave like that.
Yeah, but I've defended Friends so much because I feel like, especially with like, so when we talk about that, we think of like Friends, we think of the comedy you're on about, the show you're on about, and Roald Dahl. People talking about that. Charles Dickens. You know, you read some of Charles Dickens, and it's incredibly racist, but that's what it was like at the time. Roald Dahl, you know, somebody was writing at a time when it was okay to say the things he did. I feel like when it comes to that it's a period piece that was written in the language of the time. I think you can still enjoy that, but you can enjoy it. It's almost like in comedy, when stand-up comedy, when you hear a joke and people laugh and then they go, oh, afterwards. You kind of enjoy it and then realize it's bad. I feel like you can enjoy comedy like that in a certain way.
It's tricky, isn't it? It's difficult to know. It's like, I don't know, it's a really difficult thing. We can't now cancel Dickens and Austen for writing things that at the time nobody had questioned. And actually, Jane Austen, she is subtly questioning them. And I don't know whether Dickens is or not. I'd have to read it more closely. But Jane Austen, if people think, oh, it's just like, you know, Regency chick lit, but she's actually making some very subtle comments about women's place in society and how vulnerable they were. And we've got to remember the times in which something was written. But I don't know, it's tricky. As like people complained about there being new versions of Roald Dahl's books. Well, I think the old versions haven't gone. Maybe have both. There's room for both versions. Let's have the versions that don't offend people, but we don't have to burn the old ones. We just have to be aware that's the time we're in. Look how far we've come. And if we're doing a new adaptation, let's make it better in that way. I think let's show what we've learned. But I can't think what the author is. There's an author who was asked, how do you stand what they've done to your books? Because the adaptations were not very well loved. And the author said, they haven't done anything to my books. My books are still on the shelf. And there's room for lots of different versions, I think. So update problematic texts, but don't pretend they never existed. Because how are we going to learn if we don't realise where we've come from, I think.
That's really, really good. Yeah, and that fits in well with your story as well, because you've written two versions of your book, you know. And I feel like, we talk. This is crazy how it's all fitted into, because we talked about Once Upon a Deadpool. You know, they did that to a movie, so we could do that. But I would like to see it edited back rather than added to, if that makes sense. Because I don't know if Roald Dahl would be like happy with people going, oh no, actually I think this character would say this rather than this. I don't know if that kind of fits.
I don't know, because sometimes I'm not sure, and I'm white, so it is not my place to judge this. We need a non-white person to tell me. Like, I could probably give an opinion on disability and cystic fibrosis representation, but I sometimes wonder, you know, they have colourblind casting now. And that could be, I don't know, that might be wonderful. I've seen the David Copperfield film with colourblind cast, and it's an amazing film. Sorry. I sometimes wonder.
In my cough, hopefully not, but you know.
Should we be spending less time amending existing texts and more time seeking out texts by non-white authors, either modern day ones or ones that were written at the same time as Dickens, and highlighting those? Because there is like, you know, there were so many women artists and scientists, but they don't get shouted about in the history books. Same with people of colour. And I wonder whether instead of fixating on changing Dickens, we actually go, actually, there were some non-white writers then, or there are now, and let's make those films and have the right people playing the parts, you know, the people for whom that's a lived experience, or a lived experience of their ancestors. I don't know. As I say, I can't really comment on that being a white person. But I'm just thinking there, sometimes people think the answer is to change things, like you said, you know, put something in, take something out. But maybe sometimes it's just, let's just write something new that is right, that is now. And
I think a great example of of like, I love it. I love it when we talk about this. Circles back to representation from earlier in the podcast. You know, Miles Morales for me is he's a black Hispanic Spider-Man. I mean, that's a home run. And they haven't gone, right, guys, you got a black Spider-Man now, which, by the way, I would never mind. You know, I'm all about equality. They went, let's write a new character who is from this community. He's more powerful than Spider-Man, and he's hella cool. Here you go. Like, and he's a very popular character.
Spider-Man was brilliant, wasn't it? Yeah, you're right there. Because like nobody should. Yeah, I'm sure there are still people going, oh, we're not allowed to have a white Spider-Man. Yes, you are. Nobody's taken any of that away. That's dominated for years. We've just now got some a Miles Morales as well, and it is just brilliant, isn't it? I love that film, and I think so. I think there's room for. I don't know. My mind is. I don't know what the right thing. As I say, it's not my place to say about colorblind casting, but sometimes I think let's instead of. In a way, is it fair? You know, like when you've got a black person playing a character in a position that they wouldn't have been allowed to be in at that time in society, then you've almost erased the injustice and the suffering that happened by pretending that it didn't happen. So that's wrong, isn't it? Because let's not pretend everything was always fine, because it wasn't.
Unless you're Tarantino, and then you throw a black guy on a horse, and then he suffers the verbal. Django Unchained for me is just one of the finest movies of all time. I love that movie because this is a white guy making a movie about that, and it shouldn't be allowed, but it is, and it's brilliant. And so I love it for that.
I haven't seen that one. We studied Pulp Fiction when I was at university, and it was one of those films I liked in spite of myself. I didn't want to like it because of sort of morality type stuff, but it is just like a masterwork of filmmaking, isn't it? You can't not be gripped by it. It's just
and the way that
sorry.
If you look at that, there's like 4 or 5 different stories happening at the same time, and they all sort of meet at the end.
So clever. And the way he puts it all, it's not in chronological order as well. And the effect that has on you, even though you know what happened before, but the way it's been presented, and it is so clever. And I didn't want to love it, and I did. So.
Yeah, and that's about being brave and making those choices. I'm going to ask you a question now. I don't want you to be offended. Why am asking this? This is just so that you listeners can listen as to why should people buy your book? Why should people buy it and try and sell it to the listeners?
Right. Well, the original one, Orange, is just, I hope, fun and funny, and it's got a nice little message about friendship and accepting difference, and it's sort of, I think people who like Good Omens and Hitchhiker's Guide and Terry Pratchett, it's that kind of thing I've been influenced by. I'm not saying I'm in their league, but that's the kind of people who would hopefully like it. And then the children's version, similar really, the same heart is in it. It's got bits that are more relevant to children, like worries about starting school and changes and going on adventures. And it's both versions have got a character in it called the Ultimate Sad, who is this incredibly depressed alien who employs these people of his called the Killjoys that just stop anybody else from being happy, because this person is depressed and he doesn't want anyone else to be happy, which is not me making a bad comment about depression. I suffer from depression and anxiety myself on a very weird rotation. I think that's why I write humor in everything, to try and sort of cheer myself up. But the other people in the book try to find a way to help this person to feel better, to start his journey to feeling better. It's very much like, there's not a magic solution, but it's about everyone working together to try and help someone, and realizing that when something feels insurmountable, if you take the first step, it might help. So I've explained that really badly. Hopefully it's done far more sensitively in the book, because I was very concerned. I didn't want to give the message that, you shouldn't be depressed because you're going to make everybody else fed up. There's very much, it talks about how the time when you need the most help is the time when you feel least able to accept it, and the time when you need to act the most is the time when you don't feel like you can get off your chair. And this is in both versions, really, but in a child-friendly way. But to try and sort of help people who don't feel right or are worried about something to realise you can make the first step with the help of people, and you can start to get back onto that journey of feeling better. And in the midst of all of that are some giggling wild space hedgehogs who are given away as prizes in a karaoke competition. There's all sorts of nonsense in it. So if you like a bit of depth and a bit of nonsense all at the same time, whatever your age, there's a version for you, really.
Well,
Plus,
I've got to say,
it's quite cheap.
well, I was going to say thank you as well for my copy. I've just downloaded it on the Kindle, so I'm going to look forward to reading that, because I could do with something to laugh at. I don't know, man. Michael McIntyre nearly killed me last night, but yeah, I do love a good read. So,
yeah. So let's hope mine isn't that funny while you've still got a cough.
Oh my God, it finished me off. I'm definitely blaming Michael McIntyre for this cough I've got right now, laughing so much. But it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, Hazel, and I hope that we can get you back on again at some point. What's the feedback been like about? Have you had any feedback yet about the book?
There's some lovely people have put some lovely reviews. The children's version comes out, I think it's on the 2nd. The Kindle version is available for pre-order at the moment of the children's version, and then it'll drop into your Kindle inbox on the release date, which is this Saturday, which is the 2nd, isn't it? And then the paperback version, I've just got to wait for when you sort of hit the self-published button, you can order a proof first. So I've got to wait for that to arrive just to check the spine and everything is in the right place and none of the paragraphs have gone peculiar. And then I can hit more buttons, and then that'll be available to order from Amazon as well. And then who knows, hopefully the audiobook version with myself, yourself, and Ryan Reynolds playing all the main characters will come out whenever I can hopefully get funding and make that. So it's all on Amazon, because it's a really, if other people want to do it, it's a really good way of being able to make your writing into a book, because I'd love to charge far less for it than I do, but there's a certain, they give you a parameter of what you can charge, because they include their printing costs and the postage costs, and then anything over that, you can have a tiny bit of profit. I think it's something like if you sell it for about £4, you get about 47 pence profit per book, which in a way isn't bad compared to traditional publishing. And you haven't had to. I'd love to go with an independent publisher. I really would like to support a small business. I just don't have any money for the outlay to begin with. You know, some people can buy their books, store them in the spare room, and then hopefully sell them at gigs, etc. I just don't have the money for the outlay, so I have sold my soul to the devil and gone to Amazon.
No, it's good. I'm glad you're getting more. Like Spotify, if you made music, would be like 0.002 pence or something like that.
Yeah, music streaming is bad, isn't it? Yeah, it's not bad. They'll set them. So if anybody wants to do it, you can see they set the parameters. They include the cost, and you can make more profit on the Kindle version because obviously there's not as many costs. So you're paying something towards the platform, but you're not paying any printing costs and things. So it's all good. It's all good fun and experience, just to try and get words out there. And
well, you keep up with it. Honestly, you're doing a great job, and you're obviously enjoying it. And I can't wait to see what comes from you next. I just want to say to the listeners, the books are Orange and Natalie Hedgerow and the Orange Alien. That's right.
That's it. Yeah. Hazel Meredith-Lloyd, the very long name. Yeah. Thank you very much.
I'll put the links for both books if Hazel sends them to me. I will put them on the readout for this podcast. So if you do fancy downloading your own version of the book, please check out the readout for this podcast. Click on the link and buy it, because you need to support our local authors and get a good story in return. So thank you so much. Hazel, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today. Thank you so much for putting up with my nonsense.
And you mine with my just verbosity. That's the word.
Michael McIntyre's fault. We'll blame him. Just going to blame him. Thank you so much. Guys, stick around. I will end with a bit of a monologue. Yeah, this has been really good. Hazel, thank you so much. Stick around because once I press end record, we'll be backstage. Well, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm going to mute myself because it's just started raining on the conservatory roof and all you'll hear is the sound of tap dancing mice.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Hazel. That was really wonderful. It was really nice chatting to you. I love those organic chats that can just go anywhere. And if you are interested in purchasing a copy of the books, I will put the links for them on the readout for this episode. So if you want to get yourself a copy, just check out the readout, as well as the petition from Josie at the beginning, the intro for this episode. So whether it's the books or the petition you're interested in, just take a look at the readout. It's all there for you. Right now, on to our most interesting discussion point is Pod Aid 2023. It's 2 months away, which means I am now filing in the guests for their time slots. We have a venue. Thank you to Helen from Ling and Davis who secured us a great venue, which we have our own access to, and it's at Shrop Dock in Shrewsbury. So thank you to the guys at Shrop Dock. It's just around the corner from me, which is wonderful. We've got our own office, our own spot there to use. If you would like to, there are still guest spots available. So if you're listening to this and you've got a great story to tell, I'm looking for motivational speakers. I'm looking for artists, musicians from anywhere. It doesn't have to be from Shrewsbury. If you're listening to this and you want to get involved with Pod Aid, please email me at shrewsburybiscuitpodcast@gmail.com or just hit me up on Facebook. There are spots available, but they do not last long. 24-hour-long spots, and they go very, very quickly. So, and also everybody that's already involved with Pod Aid, thank you so much. I can't wait to speak to you. If you don't know what Pod Aid is, I'll give you a summary now. It's a 24-hour live charity podcast that we do in front of mics and camera. We do it every year and we raise money for Ling and Davis. We're just shy of $5,000 after this will be our 3rd year. So I want to break that $5,000 barrier, but make it our biggest show ever. So if you want to get involved, if you want to donate, whatever it is, please find Pod Aid on Facebook, on Instagram, and on where else are we? We're on YouTube too. Now, the YouTube is a funny one because if you give that a follow, there's not a lot going on there because we haven't recorded anything in a year. But if you're subscribed and you hit that bell, you'll get the notifications when we do go live. So it seems daft, me asking you to subscribe to a channel that's not doing anything, but very soon it will be. Right, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much to everybody involved in today's episode. I really enjoyed this. It's great to dust the mic off, the dust off the mic. See, there we go. It's been a while. What can I say? Thank you so much to everybody who's listened to this, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.